Feel the power. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are test driving a 2024 Kia Seltos EX on the freeway. And this is just the regular 2-liter Kia Seltos, 146 horsepower, if I'm not mistaken, not the turbo engine. And 146 horsepower is really not a lot of horsepower out of a modern 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. It is mated to a CVT transmission, everyone's favorite kind of transmission on the internet. So what we are going to do is we are going to endeavor to see if it has enough power to drive on the freeway. And I'm already just going to kind of make the statement that yes, it has enough power. It does not have a surplus of power, and you do have to really put the spurs to it sometimes, but you do have enough power to get up to speed and maintain the sort of speeds that you have to maintain on the relatively feral freeways of Southern California. I'm currently doing 68 miles an hour with no trouble whatsoever. One thing that I think people need to keep in mind with small cars like this, specifically cars with small engines like this, is, you know, if you floor it, it's gonna make a bunch of noise, and sometimes you need to do that to get up to freeway speed in a car like this, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You're not hurting the car as long as you don't do it, like, you know, within the first couple of minutes that you've started the engine. At least let it circulate some oil through it, and as long as you are diligent about your maintenance on the vehicle, as far as making sure that the oil changes are done to the factory specification, and you are doing all the other required maintenance on the vehicle, then it's okay to rev the engine. You're not hurting anything by doing that. But here we are doing 70, 75-ish, about 2,500 RPM. The ride is relatively composed for a cute ute, as I call them, a subcompact SUV like this. It feels pretty good. The handling is pretty good. Neither one is amazing for the class, but both are good. And it's a relatively nice car to drive. It's an interesting car. I'll put a link to a full review on it that I have done probably in the description and in the comments. I find the equipment on this EX model to be really weird. The choices they've made. Like, it has factory navigation, but it doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay. It has wireless charging, but it doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay. It's got blind spot monitors, but it doesn't have adaptive cruise. But as far as I could tell, it has all of the hardware for the adaptive cruise, because it has all of the, you know, forward collision alert, emergency braking, lane centering, etc., etc. But overall, it's a pretty nice car and relatively decent price point compared to what a lot of cars cost these days. And I would say yes, it has enough power to drive on the highway, at least down here in Southern California, which is a pretty good test. Really, the only thing we don't have is the altitude. You would lose a little bit of power at altitude, but depending on where you are, the freeway situation might not be so dire, so you might be able to afford to lose a little bit of power. We're doing 70 miles an hour right now. So there's a refinement check for you. It's doing about 2,300 RPM on a relatively decent freeway. We are getting a little bit of wind noise, a little bit of tire noise, but again, nothing out of the ordinary based on the price point, nothing too offensive. We have heated seats. We have brown fake leather, which actually looks rather expensive. We do not have a moonroof. I guess if you get the all-wheel drive version of the Seltos, a moonroof comes standard with all-wheel drive, but it's not available on a two-wheel drive, which this is. So there you go. Brakes are good, easy to modulate, good pedal response. You do hear the engine. It's not overly refined. Let's put it this way. And if you're gonna buy a Kia or a Hyundai, I always say this, make sure to do all of your scheduled maintenance on time and keep records if you buy one new and you are trying to maintain the validity of your 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, because if this engine needs to be repaired or replaced, or the transmission for that matter, if you cannot prove that you did everything you needed to do, they will tell you to kick rocks. They are not in the market for doing engine repairs for cars that have not had their all their maintenance done. I would recommend just biting the bullet and doing it at the dealer, because then the dealer has the records of it, even though you pay a little bit more to do the oil changes there. If something happens, you just hand them the key and say, hey, you guys maintained it, you figure it out. Don't call me until it's done. Where's my service loaner? I've just read too many horror stories about that on the internet. I was in Subaru world for a long time, and Subaru used to, I don't know that they do anymore because they've gotten so much bigger, but back when they were only selling like 300,000 cars a year, I remember this one, it was a Forester, and it had like 37,000 miles on it and needed an engine. And it was like, I was back talking to the technician. I go, why does it need an engine? Because that was very uncommon. He goes, well, the person that owns it never changed their oil. I was like, oh, they're gonna have fun paying for that, because I figured, you know, if you can't prove you did at least one oil change in 37,000 miles, I can kind of understand why the manufacturer would kind of tell you to get lost. But he goes, nope, Subaru's gonna pay for it. Like, wow, that's stupid on their part. But, you know, I guess good customer service, whatever. But yeah, Hyundai and Kia definitely do not do that. So they're very particular about the type of records they require. Yeah, this thing's got good power to drive on the highway. In the fast lane, going through the curve. It's kind of a fun little car to drive, you know. It's not bad. It's not the most exciting tiny sport utility vehicle, but it's nowhere near the worst either. I'd have it over a Honda HR-V for sure. I'd take it over a Corolla Cross. That one's just a little too boring for me. I'd probably rather have a Mazda CX-30. Haven't driven the newest Subaru Crosstrek, so I can't speak intelligently on that. But yeah, here we are in the outside lane doing some miles an hour, and it just kind of got up there and did its thing. Oh, this person was saved by Jesus Christ in the wilderness green Outback that we just passed there. Good for them. Geico saved me up to 15% on my car insurance, so I'm right there. Actually, that's a lie. Geico's never given me a good quote on my car insurance, and I've never used them. So anyway, as I am thundering along in the fast lane in my Kia Seltos, I am going to declare that yes, this vehicle is more than capable of being driven on the freeway, even with the smaller engine. And it is a relatively nice car to drive. Please check the link in the description or in the pinned comment to see my full review on it. Please like my video, subscribe to my channel, and have a great day. Bye-bye.